Right lads, Guinness Guru show. You might notice if you're watching the video on YouTube, I've got this weird looking microphone attached to my jumper. I personally think it looks a bit silly, but if you listened to the episode last week with Connor Moore, as I said beforehand, the audio was a bit fucked is because I was using the other thing and it was scratching and fucking all that shite. So this is the best option for the minute. So this week's guest is my hometown friend, the one and only Rory Stories. Rory would have started on social media making sketch videos around the GAA in around 2014. He's come a long way since then. He's been on TV shows, he's been on RTE. Currently going around on a sellout tour around Ireland. He's just written his 4th book, so he's doing all right, our Rory. And like I said, myself and Rory would have been born and raised about 200 yards apart. We recorded this episode in the one and only, the Fox Inn in Ballymadon. An absolutely divine pub you will see for yourself very soon. Enjoy the episode lads. As always, if you're watching on the YouTubes, give it that thumbs up. It helps that algorithm, whatever the fucking algorithm is, but the algorithm helps us all. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give it a 5-star review, even if you think it's a load of shite. Enjoy. Right, here with Rory Stories. I feel like every time I start any sort of new series, I just have to get Rory in because he's my fellow Ashburn influencer.
Have to look out for
me, fellow Ashburn influencer wanker. So yeah, here we are in what looks like the smallest pub in Ireland. Myself and Rory, to be fair, are two absolute ogres. I don't know if you can even see the top. They can't. We probably both look like
I'm inches away from a couple of whiskey glasses here, so if you hear a smash,
and like you can't see the two fucking. I'm not far behind you with the baldy head, so we probably look like we've got 2 full heads of hair.
Yeah.
So keep the angle there, Kat. Right, Rory. Before we pour these, 2 questions. Have you ever worked in a bar?
No.
Not in your whole life?
Never worked in a bar, no.
And have you ever, not even like picking up glasses or anything like that?
No, actually never did, believe it or not, no.
Fair enough. And do you remember your first pint of Guinness?
No, I don't think so. No, it was a long time ago. Obviously, you're talking.
I mean, you're a man who's had plenty Guinness.
Yeah, 14, 15, probably at a family wedding, and she'll let Rory have one there. He's big, because I was big for my age, like yourself, so I kind of I passed for 18.
Oh, you were literally like, I remember it was the first book, and there's a picture of you. Are you 12 in 6th class?
Yeah.
You're literally, like I was taught in 6th class, but you just look like an absolute man. You look like a 40-year-old man.
It's just that and that. So in other words, I looked 18, 19, so no one paid any heed, but I was only 13 or 14. But anyway, I don't remember the specific point, but sure it was good.
Because I remember my first one was Arthur's Day, that 2009, and we had I was a can now, but I absolutely despised it. Then obviously a few years later, it's a bit like coffee, acquired a taste.
Arthur's
I feel like you, even if you were like 13, 14, drinking a pint, you still would have been like, lovely. Whereas most people have to acquire the taste.
As you know, Guinness is getting popular now with the young generation, but when obviously I would have hung around with your brother Sean, he played football and that, when we were growing up, I was one of the only 1 or 2 lads that drank Guinness on the team. It was all the lagers and the Bulmers. Like. But now...
Same with my mates. Like, it's like, what are you drinking Guinness for?
Yeah, you're really old lad. Like, get over to there and sing a ballad or whatever. Now, but it was... Now it's cool. Like, you see all the trendy lads in the trendy bars all drinking pints of Guinness. And it's... Because
it's gobshites like myself making it sort of weird and trendy and lads talking about it in bars. Right, we're going to pour this. So I suppose Guinness Guru...
You go first.
Fucking clueless. I'll go first and then we'll let them settle. And then we'll finish them off.
Okay, yeah.
Right, grand. So we'll just go from the same tap. So, Kat, do you want to come in a little close up? So I'll give you the tips that I know, but everyone knows.
Because
old style glass, of course, Ray, and the Fox is always going to have that 45-degree angle. Some people wouldn't touch it. I would touch it off.
Okay.
And then just pull it back. Could be an empty cut.
We're all right. Guinness 2. Cut.
Right.
See, that's the Guinness is good here, and it's fucking always
fucking
just
lovely here.
Flat out. Yeah.
Well, if there's no Guinness in this, we are fucked. Oh, thank fuck.
We're in.
Thank fuck, we are in.
Again, does that make any difference? I know a good pint shouldn't have any bubbles, but see the way you do that. What generates bubbles? Just a bad pint, or could it be the pour? Like,
do you know what? I was only doing a podcast last week and I learned that apparently some people will pour a couple of like a half a pint out, and then sometimes you can just kind of do that, like with the bubbles, but that's dipping the nozzle, so that's not great. But the bubbles, again, it's like, I was explaining it last week, but fucking guru me hole. But you're gonna go. I'll try to remember.
So you've no fucking clue. Listen, we don't expect you to be a genius at this stage. Just say, Rory, I don't fucking know.
Quick side note, lads, I can't lie. Rory kind of stumped me there, and he was dead right to do it. And I knew I had learned the answer very recently, but I shat the bed. But yeah, basically, as far as I'm aware, because they were the first couple of pints poured in probably 13, 14 hours, the chances of getting a few bubbles in the first couple of pints are quite high. Because that first bit of Guinness is probably sitting in the lines as opposed to sitting in the keg, so there's a possibility of the first little drop going stale. That's what I think, could be way off. Back to the show.
Anyway, Ray will know, ring Ray back there, right?
Fucking hell.
So
kind of hold it like, good angle on it, and just pull it right down, no pussyfooting. There we go, yeah.
And then when do you
kind of bringing it up to, tilt it at the last kind of second, if you know what I mean. Don't let the nozzle dip, which you've already done.
I've done that, and bubbles coming.
Straighten it up, straighten it up. That'll do.
Right.
Okay, that was an interesting one. And stick that up.
Only an odd bubble, nothing major.
Yeah, I know the crack with the bubbles, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
A new thing I want to do is, while they're settling, I want to settle a debate. You're an avid GAA man, so I want to get your opinion on GAA players should be paid, agree or disagree? Settle this debate until the pints settle. So you've about 90 seconds. No.
Can I see it?
I'm sure you've spoken about it.
Can I see it happening in our time? Yes. But at the minute, no, because how is it going to be evenly spread out between the big hitters and the lesser, weaker counties? How is everyone going to be like? Is it because you play for Dublin or Limerick, you're on better wage because you get to the All-Ireland final and you win the All-Ireland? And, or, you know, how does like the small, I hate naming counties, say the minnows, like how are they going to make money? Like does everyone just give a set pot at the start of the year? Like,
do you think it's like too late to bring it in?
I wouldn't fancy like organising who gets what. Like, do you know what I mean? That's my problem. Is to be like, right, just because like I'm one of the best hurlers or footballers in the country, just because my county are not a stronghold, why does fucking a Dublin or a Limerick lad get more money than me because he's gone that far? And I'm just based on the Premiership. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
because
like,
they can't move teams.
No,
it's like if you're going to bring in wages, then you kind of need to if someone's unbelievable, they're playing for Laois Hurling, no offence, Laois Hurling, but they're going to be like, well, I'm getting shite wages because Laois can't afford
are knocked out of the championship before the business. Then that's me. But then, like, you even just mentioned county boards. If that's the case, it'll never happen. It'll have to be sponsorship. How the fuck would county boards?
True, yeah.
Like, you're going around struggling selling tickets to buy houses and all this. How are they going to fund these lads professionally? And then where do you cap it? Like, where's enough of a wage to go full-time GA player? Or, you know, or just enough. Like, they're getting good money and expenses now. Do you know what I mean?
All the big dogs
fairness, like,
get themselves a bit of this and a bit of that. And
I'd say there, we don't know the half of what really goes on between, you know, again, like with JP back in Limerick, and obviously, again, Hey Ham and the Dubs were like big sponsorships behind them, and not just them, other big, because companies come in and they see a county, like if you're like AIG going for Dublin, like brilliant, like, do you know what I mean, going in there, but like, AIG aren't going to come to a county, they're never going to win that because they're not going to get anything. So it's a debate that will never happen in 60 seconds or 90 seconds. But at this moment, I don't think so. No.
Settled. Right. So I'm going to push it forward. So if you push it forward, it comes out slower. So that's going to give me a better chance of getting that absolute domage on top.
Okay.
Seems all right. I've been guilty of trying to get too much of a dome and then spilling it.
Yeah.
So that's a safe enough bet. But like, that's actually perfect, to be fair.
Would the head be a little skinny though, no?
It could, it'll thicken up. Just to be
somewhat critical, considering you've fucking done this a lot the last few months.
At the minute, it's a little bit skinny. Here you are.
Right,
so you can pull it forward if you want.
No, I want to try. So this way, and do you put the head in? No.
No, don't tilt it. I wouldn't tilt it.
Okay, so just it's all about good eyesight, really, isn't it?
Do you have good eyesight?
No. Blind in one eye.
I was going to say that. That's very respectful.
I gambled it a little bit.
Is he going to go again? Is he?
So you have
How's
shaky
the steady hands
now,
now, Rory? You have to
hands.
get it up to the counter.
Shaky hands, come on.
Imagine this big ogre bringing over the pint in 2 hands.
Yeah.
Fiver, please.
Knee slating your skinny head. Look at that for a little skimmy skin.
Skinny head on that. See, mine is thickened out.
Now, Guru, what did I do wrong that I have a little tiny head in it?
You poured it extra at the end.
Well, it was looking like that though.
I don't, but you were saying I bet you they'll even out to be the exact same.
Now,
they will.
I blow you out of water with the homage there, big man. In fairness, look at that. There's a fucking wave there.
Fucking mental. I get a picture of that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
To mind the skinny head, it's all about that big.
It's always good if the guests do better than me, you know what I mean? I don't like the attention to myself, you know what I mean?
Well, there's no competition there anyway, boss.
Look at that. Romeo and Julieta.
Yeah.
Right, we'll bring this over. This is going to be the other challenge now, Rory, getting it over to the sea. You can carry your own, lad.
Yeah. That does look perfect. Just if it was another mill or two ahead, it'd be the most perfect point.
On yours?
Yeah. No?
Another mill or two ahead and it'd have been...
No, like the white was a bit like thicker, to make it look absolutely
Now, it probably is down to the fact that we're getting the first pints of the whole day.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, we'll bring the book in a minute.
Yeah, whenever. Just come back and sitting on the point, right?
Lads, quickly before we dive into these beautiful pints, a quick shout out from the sponsor of this episode. We've got to keep the lights on here at Guru HQ, even though I'm not in Guru HQ, but we've got to keep the lights on here in my rental property. Episode is sponsored by Manscaped. I usually just shite on by myself. Sometimes I like to read the ad reads they give me because they're an American bunch. They're sound, they've good hearts, but their ad reads can be quite funny. Welcome to Fresh Ball Fall. It's a season of pumpkin spice and making your crotch look nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze, using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. Ease with a Z. This is creative. We've got the Ultimate Performance Package 4.0, the Lawnmower 4.0, with the Weed Whacker, plus little bits like the Crop Preserver, ball deodorant. Comes in a handy little wash bag, and you even get a free pair of boxers. Unbelievable, Jeff. Manscaped.com, pints 20 for 20% off plus free shipping. Now back to the pints. That is some angle, isn't it? Unbelievable.
You're right, mine's after turning out to be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
Right, cheers, dog.
Slant your Rory.
Man, enjoy.
Right, your 14th video on the channel.
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
See, that tastes pretty good to me, and I always say it, but when I've done the episodes in Walsh's and Stony Bar, and the pints are always perfect, and it's the first pint of the day, and maybe the couple of bubbles possibly would, just because the first pint of the day, could have probably poured a little bit out, but I think it's after doing this for a while and going to pubs over the last few years and going into pubs, like being the first man in, and people always say, oh, if there's not a lot of people who have already drinking Guinness in the pub, I wouldn't go near it, but I personally think that's a load of bollocks. Would you be one of those people who would go in and be like sneering around?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
I think it's a myth.
Yeah. No, I would. I'd pop the head in and I'd look at people around the bar, and if I see one no one drinking Guinness, or I see one and it's like clear glass and it looks like very liquid, I'd walk out. I would.
Yeah, obviously if you saw it and it looked shy, and maybe, yeah, if you went in somewhere and there was no one drinking it, but I think it's a bit...
No, I don't, but well, like at the end of the day, like it could have been a packed house the night before and the Guinness was flowing and you're talking 10 hours later, like, you know, just you get the next point, but yeah, in that regard...
But I wouldn't, that's fair enough, but I wouldn't go into, if I was first into a pub, I wouldn't be like, I'll wait a while.
No, I wouldn't. I thought you meant to go in and observe people in there drinking the porter, but no, that wouldn't bother me, I'd chance it like.
And right, yeah, so we're in the Fox Inn, which is just outside of Ashburn. Would you say, it could be a controversial question, but would you say you have a local? What would you say your local is? I think I probably know what you would say.
Yeah, it's probably the Dunamore Clubhouse. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't go out like that much between busy at the minute, but obviously the kids. But if I was going out, it'd be up to the club.
Yeah.
I just like it up there because the Guinness is good, as you know. Yeah. Peter the barman loves sneering you, so he keep your feet on the ground, like, and anyone up there, like.
Every time I go up, like, I know Peter well because I used to do the few events up there, and any time I go up now, it's every time he just says, "So you're the new Rory?"
yeah, sure. When I done the Hell Week, like, and everyone was like, "Geez, Rory, fair play." There was, inspiration stuff, all this kind of stuff. And then I walked into the club, and the first thing Peter's like, "We have tissues there for you if you need them." Like, do you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but I love that. Like,
everyone's
do you know
commending you, being like, big man, you know, crying, getting his emotions out, and then you just have that. There's always that one like
the barman in the GA club. Sure, that's his job. Like, but I love the banter with Peter. Like, I'd sit there myself, have a pint, and drink away. Like, he's one of these that you're not getting a compliment off him, no matter what. He's just, and if he does, it's in a sneery way. Like,
it's like he's surprised that you've been able to accomplish something. But I think every barman should be like that.
Yeah, some people, I don't know, whatever. But for me, I think I like his banter and his sneeriness. Like,
so you're touring at the moment. You're kind of in the middle of the tour, and you're doing definitely must be by far your biggest tour. 16 shows.
Yeah, I done something similar back in 2019 before the pandemic, right. Like, and that went really well. Yeah, about I think I done like maybe 12 and then another 5, so 17. But this is 16 at the minute, and then I'm going to be putting on another 5 or 6 then early next year as well. Like,
but obvious question, but like, is it just the exact same thing every time? Is it?
No, completely different.
Because you have different guests every time.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So, like, the material for the stand-up is completely different to the first show. And then, so it's kind of 45 minutes as myself telling the stories. Then I have a special guest and we have a conversation about life, like, you know, interesting guests.
Yeah. Well, you always sort of, I've been to a few years shows and you definitely like personalise it to where you are, don't you?
Yeah.
So you'd be like, fucking, you find out a bit of information about the town or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you might just, that's kind of where you get your ammo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not really that anymore. It's a lot of it's just because I've a lot of material from the lockdown and I've 3 young kids. There's a lot of comedy there, and so, and I lived with my parents for a year during the pandemic. So there's definitely a lot of
just general relatable stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. But no, it's been going really well, and I worked really hard on the guitar during the lockdown.
Yeah.
So
how's that going?
That's been a massive kind of plus.
Are you actually playing tunes? Like?
Yeah. I sing 3 songs at the end of every show. Like,
are they your 3 favourite tunes?
Kind of like I do the Wild Rover because the Wild Rover is it just gets people going. Like, you start off and it's no name, and then you go into. And then I go into The Town I Love So Well, so it's a little bit slower, but I love that ballad. Like, it's one of my favourite ballads. I sing that.
I'll probably guess what you sing last.
Sure.
Grace.
Yeah. It's like it's what they want. Like, before you even strum a chord for Grace, people start singing. And by that time, my voice is nearly gone anyway, so the crowd just sing it for you. But it's some buzz, like.
Because we did it. I remember, this seems like young ago. I think I had just started doing this. And I used to do the odd bit of video stuff for you, and you had me over out the back shed, you, the old lad, and what's your man's name?
Mick, Mick, actually must give him a good shout. Mick Dunphy, he's the lad that taught me the guitar. He's class.
But you were like, that would have been mid-2020, because it was like, it was an Instagram.
It was a fundraiser, it was a fundraiser.
So that's only 2 years ago, and like, you weren't up to a whole lot.
No,
the guitar.
Yeah.
And then you just fucking put the head down.
Yeah, sure. Look at the fingers. It's all in the fingers. If anyone says to play the guitar, if you want to call their bluff, do that. And if it's soft as a baby's arse, they're bluffing. That just like, it's just like hard skin now.
Because I've tried so many times, and your fingers, you feel like a little bitch. You're just like, oh my God, my fingers are in bits here.
Yeah, they do.
And then you'd be like a rock after about a week.
Yeah, and then if you stop for a week, you're back again, and it's your bit. So just persistence. But like, I know loads of people like yourself that tried to play guitar, because it's a cool thing to have, like, in a session, pick up the guitar or whatever.
It's the number one thing, if I could wish to be able to do something, and I've tried it so many times. I can't understand why I can't fucking pick it up, but it is just persistence, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but see, the reason I kind of would give others credit is, like, I had a reason and a purpose too. Because I was thinking, anyone who's worth their salt in this country can play the guitar on stage as well as tell stories. Like, any of the best comedians can do that. Like, so I said, "Fuck it, this is something I had to get done." And it's a lovely feeling when you get, you know, over the hump. Yeah. Because everyone thinks it's all about this hand and keeping an eye on your strings and your chords, but it's actually about this hand, because this hand connects with the mind, like, and this is where the real music comes from. This should go into autopilot, you know, when you're used to it, just does for me now, thankfully. But at the start, it's like you're looking, and these big fucking shovels as well, trying to get the hand around. But It's like riding a bike. I should have brought it with me. We could have banged out a tune here now. But anyway, too late now. But
I kept saying to myself, like, and I was like, I don't know, looking back, how I didn't do it in lockdown. Like, I tried, but I just couldn't get the hang of it. But I'm like to myself, I'm doing this Guinness Guru thing. I'm going to pubs. Like, it would make so much sense if I could play guitar. Like yourself, just bang out 5-6 tunes, just have them in your head. So like down the line, going to pubs or maybe some sort of a live show in a pub. Like, so I'm still adamant I'll get there.
Yeah, well, it's like anything. If you put your mind to it, you'll do it. Like, you know, I was hell-bent. It took me 5 years from the minute I started. Like, I got a guitar, got lessons off a fella, but I just wasn't giving it enough. And then the lockdown was perfect because I used to go up to Mick's house twice a week, sit out in his back garden, and just keep watching him and copying him and having a few beers and relaxing.
Maybe I can sit there and watch you now.
Well, I think, but it is something that will always kind of be there, and it's a cool thing to have. So it's definitely added to the shows because the first half's all comedy. People are enjoying themselves, laughing. They go for an interval. When they come back, I am asking them to come with me in this conversation. It's a little bit like, not boring or serious, but it's different to pure laughing. Like, I had Keith Earls speaking about his bipolar, and that, like, conversations where it's a bit, fuck, this isn't a comedy show, but that's what I want. Like, but I use the kind of, you know, I whenever there's comedy there's ever a point, I'll throw in a joke to get the crowd back laughing, and then if that's why it's important then to pick up the guitar and bring the volume up again. And leave them then. Yeah, because a lot of them are going out on a night out, so they want to go out full of beans, so have them roaring a few songs.
Big time. No better fucking way to get riled up for a night out. So you have 3 kids. I've no kids. But, obviously, probably the majority of people listening to this will have kids. How would you say, if it has at all, the sort of relationship with going out, having a few pints, changes as you have kids?
Yeah, I think it definitely does, because it's those out saying hangovers are just not worth it. Like you know, see, when we were younger, when I was younger, you went out with the lads, you'd after a match, you enjoyed yourself. It's all you had to do the next day was get through the day. Like, you know, lie on the couch, watch shite on the telly, order takeaway, feel sorry for yourself, scroll on the internet, ring a mate, have a laugh, maybe have a cure, whatever. There's none of that when you have kids. Like, it's just, they don't care. Like, so you're up, no, they don't care. So you have to, it does go through your mind now. So now I'm even more of a pints man. Like, you know, the whole shorts days, they're gone. Like, for me anyway, not able for it. Like,
I kind of feel like I must already have kids or something, because I just have totally eliminated, but like this sort of crack, just absolutely love this for a few hours, and then 9-10 o'clock, chipper.
But that's the way it should be. And like, because you like, for me, my fix is the chats, like, you know, and I often say that about, you know, people might criticise saying, oh, he's talking mental health, then he's talking about drink, but like, I think there's a factor to it as well, is lads meeting and having a conversation over a few pints is massive for their mental health. Like, just to have a nice, the tongue becomes a bit looser with a few pints and you're just yourself. You might say something
balance,
that,
like, and I think as you get older, you definitely, well, some lads don't, but I like to think I have gotten that where, you know, like, you have your few pints in and you kind of feel, Jason, I'm well on now, so that's me done. Whereas when you're younger, you're just trying to get as locked as possible. But like you said, like, you could have something on your mind, and then you're like fucking real tense about it, and then you might have a couple of pints, and then you're like, do you know what, blah 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 blah, and then you're thinking, what was the problem? I saw that thing, was it a few months ago, where you were at the golf tournament and Shane Lowry was signing your head. I wanted to ask you, not to say anyone is better than anyone else, but you've met so many people like Lowry, like John Milan, all these other lads. Could you possibly give me like not in any particular order, but like a top 3 of just the kind of, I don't know, the best characters, the best experiences? That
I would connect with, basically, yeah. Well, Lowry is definitely up there. Like, Lowry is exactly as people imagine he is. Like,
just a regular fella.
Yeah, just a regular fella. Like, I'll tell you a true story about how, like, we've been texting each other a bit on social media over the years. Like, I remember before any videos, I wrote this blog about the great Matt Connor, the Offaly legend. Yeah. And I tweeted it at Lowry and said I had a read, and he fucking retweeted it. Like, do you know what I mean? He's retweeting.
When would that have been?
This went back to 2013, maybe. Like,
oh, was it?
Yeah, good few years ago. Like, so him retweeting this story about Matt Connor to all his golf fans. Like, but anyway, that was so. I was like, geez, his interest. So anyway, one night, it was 2018, myself and Emma were out. We stayed in the Shelbourne. Now, I'm not a Shelbourne head, as you well know, but I just said, fucking Emma, we'll see how the big dogs live. And we I won't lie, we got looked after because Emma knew something anyway, as in like we didn't pay the mad rate, we got whatever normal rate. But anyway, in we went, and fucking it's an experience to see these 5-star hotels. Like, you know, I'm like you know, we grew up in some from 5-star hotels, but I wanted to feel like fucking I was someone for a day, like going around, everyone just like so nice to you and all this kind of. Anyway, long story short,
was it still like 2013?
2018 this was.
2018?
Yeah. So I put up a photo on Instagram being like, oh, blah, 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 like in the Shelbourne. And Lowry messaged me going, I'm over in O'Donoghue's, are you around for a pint? And I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm like, it's Lowry, we have to meet him. She's like, we had plans to go for dinner. I was like, we can go for dinner any other time, yeah. So I was like, no, come on, it'll be grand. So we were going to Christy Moore that night. So anyway, I went down to O'Donoghue's and he was there with Neil Manship, his coach. Yeah. Real nice fella, who actually is from originally, or not originally, but he lives in Ratoath, which obviously isn't far from us.
Yeah, yeah.
And he sat down, knew within an hour, says, Lowry's one of us, like just drinking, having the crack. Anyway, I says, what are you doing tonight? And he's like, oh, nothing. He's like, do you want to come to Christy Moore? And he's like, we've no tickets. I was like, you're fucking Shane Lowry, you'll be grand. He's like, no. I was like, Shane, get into the taxi. So myself, Shane, Emma and Neil jumped in the taxi, got there. There happened to be a tout there anyway, and he bought one. And then we went and
I can't imagine Lowry being like rocking up, being like, I'm Shane.
No, he's very humble, like, you know, but but they're gonna recognise the big fucking, he's a big man and a big beard and a pure Clare accent on him. So they're gonna, he's very unique fella. So anyway, we went in, had an unreal night at Christy Moore. We went back to a pub owned by Alan Clancy, who owns a good few bars around Dublin. He owns like House and 37, all these kind of nice spots. And he came and said, Hosier is having a after party back in one of my bars. Do you want to come? Yes, we jumped in his fucking Jeep, down to House, in the back, free for all night. Hosier there, Code Line there, having the crack with Shane. And it was just, that's when I really kind of was like, he's one of us. Like, you know, I was only in his company an hour and it's like, he is legit. He's just brilliant at golf. Yeah. But he's 100%. So he's definitely up there. Sean O'Brien, I have to say, is exactly as it says in the tin, like.
Yeah. I was with James Haskell, and he said Sean O'Brien is just the funniest. Like, just what you see is what you get. Yeah. Just pure raw as fuck.
He makes no apologies. He never molded into that rugby type of player. And I had him as my guest in Carlow, and he just told stories that.
Was that a surprise?
No, I think I'd announced him. Yeah. But when I seen my dating card, was only one person I wanted that show, and that's Sean O'Brien. So he straight away was like, yeah, I'd love to do it. We had a great chat, telling me great stories, like, you know, like stories that, you know, he probably tells his mates in the pub. He wasn't afraid, but I says, Shawnee, this is why the people of Carlow love you, because you're a god in Carlow, and yet you're just telling stories that are like the lads, like, do you know what I mean? So he was 100%, and. Paul O'Connor I've met a few times, because the reason he was one of my idols growing up, like, you know, like yourself, I'm sure, like he just had that kind of just had that kind of presence and leadership qualities that, you know, you just admire of the man. And I met him a few times in the last few years, and again, 100%. It's just a lot of them are though.
He just comes across as one of those lads that just is like, not flawless, but like you get these leaders who are able to. He goes in the late and he's so just like chill. And he's like, yeah, I got 600 points in the leaves. It's like perfect at everything. And you see the videos of him fucking screaming and knowing exactly what to say. And like some lads got just perfect in the situation.
Yeah.
He's so humble as well.
Yeah, he has this presence when you meet him. He's not actually as big as you think. Yeah. Like, it's easy for us to say, obviously, but like, you know the way he's lost a lot of weight. He's a thin enough man.
Yeah. Like he never kept it on naturally.
No. He I would say he'd be a skinny enough fella now, considered to where he was. Obviously, he was his man mountain, but still looks as fresh and fit as ever. But just a nice fella, like, you know what I mean. And but to be honest, like any of them I've been lucky enough to meet in the last few years, they're all, I think for Irish people in general are just normal, down to earth, like, you know, because it's your upbringing, like, you know, Irish people are obviously the same. You're kind of. You just you are who you are, and you never get ahead of yourself, and that's just the way it is. So a lot of them I've experienced are sound like.
Yeah. Brilliant. I wanted to go back to you. I actually had it written here. You said about being blind in one eye. So a quick go over your GA career. So you would have played, just being an absolute monster, you would have played, obviously, Meath Minor, all that sort of stuff. When did the whole eye thing become a situation?
Yeah, it kind of...
You're still like only in your 20s.
Yeah, in my early 20s, I went for an eye test. I don't know what it was for, anyway, I went and they're like, you know, obviously cover your left side and read. And so they said you're right, so we done it and read pretty good down to the last couple of small letters, and then it's like cover your left, and it was just blur.
Yeah.
And I was like,
in your early 20s.
Yeah, and I was like,
right.
what the fuck's going on here? And I went like that again, blur, and I was like, oh my god, it rubbed me eye anyway. So I went, failed obviously, and then I went to this specialist. You have this thing called cornicitis, I think it's called. It's like a rare disease in your eye. It's basically, he said to me, say, this is how he described it. I love the way these doctors would describe it. He goes, say if a woman has saggy boobs, right? And she has a bra on. Yeah. And he said, when she takes off the bra, what happens? You go down. Well, that's like your eye is constantly like that. And I needed this kind of hard contact lens to push them up like a bra. Like the sight is still there, but there's like this kind of flop over my like this is technical stuff, like obviously in my pupil. So I just continued on then for a few years, but like you're playing football with one eye, like especially midfield, like you're fucking running for kickouts and they're over your head, like because when I do that I can't see anything, like, and it's funny, anytime I've gotten a good belt on a football field, it came from this side because I can't see.
Right, yeah.
A lad, we played the Dublin Miners in a friendly a few years ago at the club, and a fella came from nowhere and he peeled me. And he did elbow up, in fairness, the fucker got me nice, but anyway, he slashed about eight stitches across my eye, but I didn't see him coming at all. So like, if you're like that, but I had no vision until it was too late.
Peripheral vision at all over there.
Hence, when boxing, I'd probably get slapped around in the ring because I
hitting you on that one side.
Yeah. So I got an operation done. It was like give up football, or get an operation done and give up football or continue. And I said no, I have to get it done. So I made the decision in 2014 to get the operation done, and I was out of football for the year. Yeah. Couldn't do because I had stitches in my eye, and that was the year, as you remember, Donegal got to the Meath County final. Yeah. And I was still trained. Yeah, but that's when Roll Stories kind of really got going because I had the time to make the videos. So I would have been making videos after, before training on Tuesday and Thursday, putting them up online. So silver line and all that. Like, even though I fucking Donegal till I die, and especially them years, I just wanted to win its senior championship.
Donegal tattoo, don't you?
Yeah, Donegal tattoo me back, but. As depressed as I was that my football days were kind of over at 24, 25, which is very young, like, I now had this purpose, like, you know, which was making the sketches, like, so I kind of channeled a bit of the energy over towards that, and then I went back when I got the stitch job, played a bit of second team football into me. Enjoyed that because I could only train once a week and then go down and then finish them with the Jimmy Walsh's Junior B's there a couple of years ago. So local legend in case anyone's wondering.
I remember there was was it a picture or something? It was you and a load of lads who probably were about 3 or 4 years retired, all playing fucking Junior B or whatever. Yeah, because we all got inspired by the Save the Last Dance Netflix show with Michael Jordan. So that was the inspiration.
Sharky set up this WhatsApp and he called it Save the Last Dance, or said, The Last Dance. The Last Dance. So we got all these lads back that would have won intermediate, would have played senior football for years, and like on paper we had a great team, but we all forgot we were in the mid-30s. So anyway, we had this vision of let's play Junior B football, you know, we'll have our kids at the final, you know, we'll have kids in the cup, it'll be a lovely way to finish our career. But sure, we ended up in a relegation battle. Because
didn't want the kids near that.
First night down training, we were like, boys, this isn't Junior B. Like, I remember Junior B. Young lads, because like we're a Division 1 minor club for the last 15 years. So the way I look at it is the weaker, if you want to call them, or poorer players on that minor team are still trickling into the Junior B. So they still can run and play football. So like, we were like, oh, this is not what because we thought Junior B, lads like knee bandages can't run and all that, but it was full of young lads, and you can't really hit anyone anymore on a football field, you know, with black card and that. So We were useless,
the only
basically.
hitting you'd have been doing now would be very black card work.
Yeah. I was just pulling out a young lad saying, "No, you don't want to go for that ball." That's doing to them what I hated anyone doing to you when you were 18, like just reefing out.
Why is lad fucking doing this? And then it just
because they don't want you to run. That's why, like, you know, you'd be telling them, "You run for that ball now, I'm going to come behind you with a knee and all this kind of stuff." Just trying to tell them.
No way you're getting near him.
Yeah. But so that was the football. See, that's how it kind of the eye and the football kind of departed. So yeah, like if I didn't get the eye operation done, who knows? Like, it mightn't have happened to all the stars. Not sure. Like,
right. So we're nearly there. I said you asked me about the whole fucking people giving me a bit of shit last week. I said we'll wait and we'll talk about it on here. I'm fucking sweating with this thing behind me.
It's lovely, yeah.
It's great. Yeah. So it's funny every time. I actually remember we did a video a few maybe 6 months ago. Took a picture here and put it up on Twitter, and now it's not much, but like you have the one or two lads, and I think it's something to do with because we're from Ashburn or from Meath. It's always like, oh fucking the two fucking Aegis from me, they added again or whatever. There's always gonna be one or two. And then last week, long story short, I was gonna do this thing called the Guinness Guru Masterclass. Details weren't even finalised. The website was still being edited, but when the website was being edited, for some reason it was live, so people could go in and look at all the stuff that we had written out, but it wasn't, so people weren't supposed to be able to see it because I didn't even know what the fuck I wanted to exactly do. And then this was put up on some random page, puts it up on Instagram, and not even in a bad way, they just said, new things to do in Dublin. And the way they worded it, it was like, because all you could see online was Guinness Guru Masterclass. It was like, come and pour your own pint, and then there was going to be loads of other stuff, and I was going to like take people around different pubs and all this, but all you could see was pour your own pint. Yeah. I said 45 quid. So someone puts up on their thing, you can go and pour a pint with the Guinness Guru. It's and it's €45. And obviously that looks horrendous. And then someone takes and it was a part of a load of other stuff, and then someone just takes the couple of lines, puts it on Twitter, and you know yourself with Twitter. And then of course your man puts it up on Twitter, and again an account with no profile picture, and he says, if you're willing to pay €45 to pour a pint with that cunt, then that's your own problem or something like that. And then boom, retweet.
Oh, yeah.
And that was pretty much what happened. And then I commented on it saying, to be fair, if I saw that, I'd think what a fucking idiot as well. And then actually I was there a bit like, oh Jesus fucking hell. But by the next morning, I think your man might have felt guilty because the whole tweet was deleted, so then all the retweets were deleted. But the funny thing is, it was that, there's only one other time I ever had that sort of feeling of a bit of a pile-on, and you were involved that time because it was probably like maybe September, October 2019 when I had just started. I maybe posted my third or fourth video, put up a video. It was just doing, and I be honest, I hadn't a clue what I was talking about, still don't. But I put up the video, and then a lad put it up on his Facebook, and then it was like, look at this fucking EJ. And then a load of like his mates, which I only realised after that, it's just like his mates commenting. His mates were stay at that cunt and commenting on your appearance and how you talk and all that. And I was so freaked because I hadn't got any of that before. Because I was so new to it, and I was like, fuck this shit. Like, your automatic thing is just like, your initial thought is like, fuck this. Then I sent you a message, and I was like, Rory, any words of wisdom here, because I'm absolutely freaked.
Oh yeah, it's not nice, yeah.
And then you just, all you said was just like, fuck them. Like, it's simple as that, just fuck them. And here we are talking about, I luckily haven't gotten much. And would you say, like, has it calmed down for you, or would you say there's just constant? Like,
it comes in waves. Like, it's, once you get your head around it, and that's what I tried to say to you a few years ago, once you're doing something that's not norm, especially norm, you're going to get criticism. And Paddy Houlihan, actually, who obviously is Ashburn, but Mrs. Brown's boys, and sure, look at the stick that gets. But that's the advice that Rory is. This was way back when I was only going. Says Rory, always understand that you're going to get stick. No matter what you do, you're going to get stick. So that's something that I've become really kind of good at managing out. Again, like, I remember when I'd be making these videos and had people comment, how does anyone find this lad funny? And you're like, will you try and make a video, or you know, I'm only, you're getting pissed off by reading some dope's comment. But as the years go on, you have to understand that.
So did you used to ever reply to them?
No, listen, I'll be honest with you, I'd say, I can't say no 100% because someone will find something and screenshot it and fucking, but not really, but definitely not in the last 5 years now. I've never responded to that. Like I'm a human being. I'd have the tweet written there, and I'd be like, it'd be like the countdown conundrum in. But once you hit it, it's gone. And my wife is very good. But like, what are you at, you dope? What good are you gonna get out of responding to them? Like, you're right. But I haven't had that now in a while. I've kind of, see, Darren, what you need to accept, and even people listening to this need to understand, this what I've learned is it's their issue. Like no one can ever say he's shit, he's not funny, he's not a good footballer, he's not a good God, because it's only their opinion. That's what, like, it's a human being's opinion. Like, that's all it is. It's not factual. Like, and once you digest it and understand it and realise, if you're scrolling through social media and you feel the urge to put underneath that fucking Dara or Guinness Gurus an awful arsehole, or I hate Rory Stories, you post that and then you take a moment, you have to, why did I need to do that? What was the urge? So if you go right into deep into it, there's an issue in there you have not addressed yourself that you're not happy with.
Yeah.
And how do you get your kick in life? You put hate on others. So, I'm going to make them feel like I do. Why? Because I just fucking am. Once you get your head around that, that is hate in a nutshell.
I know. And like, I think there's an argument for it, like, where, like, I saw a couple of the, like, I remember it was at like 50 retweets, and I was like, right, phone off. But I read a couple of them, and like, to be fair, a couple of them were genuinely funny. Like, they weren't even
they weren't
like the hate, and they were just kind of
having the crack.
It was having the crack, and they were still kind of hopping on. But I was kind of like, listen, that was actually pretty funny. But it's the people who, like, because you say hate, like, some of them you read, it's like, that doesn't feel like they hate me.
No.
They see it and they're just comment. They might be like a social comment or whatever, grand. But it's when the people genuinely feel like they despise you. And it's always the people who don't really watch your stuff as well. So, yeah.
It's not nice, but like in the last touch wood, now I don't really tweet anymore, to be honest. I rarely tweet. I think it's such a horrible platform. Like, I still only have it for my own updates, and I might retweet something work related. Other than that, I just don't give my opinion on it. It's too because people can just take it out of context and bang, and so it's not worth it.
100%.
But what I do know is, like, that when you're in the public eye, or where you do whatever you do that's away from norms, there's always people in the long grass.
Yeah.
So if I was to make a bollocks of something or do something, that, wasn't ideal or whatever, you just know they're waiting, and they just come, flies around shit again, and told you about him, and fucking arsehole. And so I'm aware of that, you know what I mean? And like, I'm only human. I try to be a good example and do what I do. I'm not out to offend anyone. I'm out to the opposite, make people laugh, make people feel that they're not the only one that might suffer with a mental health issue. Like, I try to put out a lot of positivity out there, but I'm only human, so if something did go wrong, you do know, and you think they're gone, but they're not. They're just keeping an eye. I can't wait for that lad to make a balls or something, and I'm going to come and dance all over him. And it's just a sad, but that stops a lot of people doing what they want to do because of that. It doesn't stop me. Like, I'm thankfully past that. I'm in a really good place at the minute with my work. I'm in the middle of a tour. I have my fourth book out, which isn't bad for someone who's dyslexic. You know what I mean?
Sorry, don't worry.
So that's out, and I'm starting a TV show now, which is something I'm extremely excited about. It's going to be real life scenarios. I won't go into too much about it because it's early days, but I think it's going to be game changer, like, from a public perspective. Like, it's in relation to lads in Mountjoy prison and how he ended up there. So I think it's something I'm all about, because I know myself.
Off camera sounds great.
Yeah, like, so yeah. I'm just like, I'd like to think I've never changed since that. And like, I still am the same fella. Like, and at this stage, you either like me or you don't, and I can accept that.
That was one thing you said to me before. You just said they choose pretty much right away if they like it or they don't like it, and chances of convincing them otherwise are zero. And as long as the ones who like you, it's maybe over 50%, then you're grand. But we'll finish, Rory. You've got your book, Lockdown, Look Back. You gave me a copy before it's even out, so thank you very much. Could you finish on, would you have any, say, something maybe you might tell at the live show, or any particular story that stands out as one of your favourites?
Yeah, there's a few of them. There's a lot of kind of the lockdown stuff, like for me, that made me laugh right in the book. Like, you know, one, for instance, was the non-essential, essential stuff. Like,
yeah.
I went down to Tesco, actually, me toenails were like seriously like just hills of eyes at this stage, and I'd no nail clipper, so I went down anyway, and there was a black tape over all nail clippers, but there were scissors available, and I was like,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm just like,
the middle aisles were gone.
And I'm just looking to get a nail clipper. She's like, oh sorry sir, they're not available. I was like, there's loads there. She was like, no, it's deemed a non-essential. I was like, but I need to cut my toenails. And she was like, oh, we're selling scissors. I was like, have you ever cut your feet with scissors? Yeah. And she's like, no, we can't.
Your hands wouldn't even fit in the scissors.
Yeah, but just imagine, like, and I had big size 14 feet, ingrown to bits. Like, I needed a good nail clipper. Anyway, I said, okay, well, sure, I suppose if you just walk off now, I'll get it, and I go to self-service. And no. And I walked out.
Probably wouldn't even scan.
I walked out and had to ring someone for a loan of fucking nail clippers. Like, and then another one was,
loan of a nail clipper.
Well, when you can only order stuff over the phone, walking into a Chinese, I was going there, just looking to order chicken curry. Oh, sorry, we only take order over the phone. I was like, oh yeah, no, fair enough, but sure, I'm here now. She's like, no, sir, we can't take it. But I was like, I know, but I'm here. We're not just. She's like, no. I said, what do you want to do? You'll have to ring on the phone. Do you actually want me to leave and ring? She's like, yeah. I walked outside, turned about 10 yards between me, the glass window, and her, and I was like,
staring at her.
Fucking nuts. Like, beep. Hello, you're through to. I was going, look at you. Yes, what would you like, sir? I was like, this fucking.
Have you ever watched Curb Your Enthusiasm?
No.
That is literally, it's your man Larry David, the guy who wrote Seinfeld, and that is like literally something out of that.
But the
logic is just.
And then I walked back in, and she was like, "Hey, how are you?" I was like, and I remember, and I know we often quote "mad," everyone's gone mad, but that was one of the mad. So there's a lot of that stuff in it. Like another one I had to laugh as well. Actually, coming home from a friend's house, coming through the main village of Ashburn, and this when all the pubs now were closed. About 2 in the morning, or maybe 1, and there was a fella stumbling from left to right across the road like bananas, like, and like what I had to laugh out loud of because he had a fucking mask on him, like. And I was thinking, Jesus, I tell you what, he might get hit by a car or a taxi man, but he won't get COVID. Like if anyone would have ran over this chap, but I was thinking he had a fucking mask on, and he was going from curb to curb. I was like, oh, this is like. So there's a lot of that kind of nostalgic stuff that I try and put a spin on everything in a funny way, so there was a lot of material in that.
Because the last book was, you did 2 books that were kind of lighthearted enough, and then you had your life story.
Yeah.
That had a lot of the quote-unquote heavier stuff. This seems like just pure laugh, stock and filler, fucking. Yeah, it's
back to a kind of an easy book to read, pick it up, read a bit of it, put it down. Like, you wouldn't have to get engrossed into that. Like, a good reader'd read that in a day or 2 days, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just
I'll read it in about 3 months.
Yeah, well, more than I'd read anyway.
It's out this Thursday?
Next 20th of October, so next week, so it'll be out on all major bookstores for all run up to Christmas. But as I said, it's a handy stocking filler. Like, you know, even if you know a friend who's a hater, it's a good present just to piss him off. Like,
that's what I mean. Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, but no, it's good. And as I said, just going back to what you said there, like it's great hearing you say that back about the whole. Like, you're at the stage now, definitely where you were, I believe, is that you have your fan base, and you might get fewer, of course, but you're not going to turn anyone at this stage. And once you remember that, it's okay, because what happens is, if I say I want to try and please other people to get them on board, what happens is you lose your core people then, because they're like, oh, what are you doing? This is I don't like you for this. Like, you're not yourself here. So you're trying to adapt. And this is not just comedy or Guinness Cure or anything in life. You're adapting for more people to like you, basically. But what happens then is they're not true followers or fans or whatever, and these are losing faith in you because you're kind of bottling in a little bit to keep these happy.
I saw some.
So remain true to yourself, basically. Like,
wanky quote there, and it was like, whatever people love about you, that's also what people hate about you. Do you know what I mean? That
is perfectly knowledge. That's exactly what I mean. So like, by you changing it up to please the people who are having digs to you. You're letting down the people who enjoy you for being yourself. So understand that you're never going to please anyone, and concentrate. It's easy as a human mind to go, okay, then 9 people said, I love your videos and your gas man with your pints. And one lad goes, I think you're an arsehole. Why do we dominate so much mind time on that one lad? So we have to, but that every human's the same.
It is a getting your head out, and that's really what I've only come to grips with now. It's like 10 people could watch one of my videos, and 7 of them could be like, that's, one of them could be like, that's deadly. 7 of them could go, that's grand. And then 2 of them could go, absolute wanker. And to get your head around the fact that everyone can watch the exact same thing and have completely different opinions, that's what makes the world go around, Rory. Let's launch it to that.
Cheers, thank you, big man.
Shout out to Ray and the Foxy in Ballymadone, unbelievable spot. Come up if you're in the area, but it is in the back arse nowhere. But if you're passing through Ashburn,
well, if you're a dub and you want to be a fanboy, Dean Rock just lives 200 yards up there. So if you want to come by, have a pint.
Thank you for that.
Stock Dean or Barney Rock, he lives up there as well. That might get, you might get a nice little touristy around here. Come here and see the boys, or whatever. But
little pub and fire.
Yeah.
Also.
No, the best thing about this pub, I'm putting the spot is what? What's the best thing about this pub?
Best thing about this pub.
There's an answer I'm looking for, but I'll put you on the spot.
Is it like a history thing?
No, it should come straight to your head.
Not the fucking fact that the ceiling's about 2 foot high.
No, I'll tell you. See that?
Oh,
no phone coverage in this pub. Epic.
I can see Mrs. Geary in the background trying to stretch the arm over to the window to try to get the... You won't get
if you want the proper chat and none of this fucking Instagram or TikTok shite, come here because you actually have no coverage and you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. You sit there and engross the conversation.
You're home to the missus, 4,000 missed calls.
Yeah.
No coverage.
No coverage in Ballymadone. What can you do? Why do you go there? For that exact reason. The Guinness is good as well, though. Anyway, right, cheers, big dog. Good man.
Right.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching, lads. / listening. Good luck.
No, happy enough?
Very, very happy,
I'll go there.
Some fucking... Jeez, if I could get...
The battery is about to go out.